All right, Rachel. CryptoFinally.
It's your girl.
Finally, yeah. We were going to chat last week. We're here now. It's midnight for me in
Is it
Singapore.
really?
Yeah,
You're in Singapore?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I did not know that.
Where are you? You're in
I'm in New York. So it's a 12 new it's sorry, it's 11 a.m. here.
Look, I'm really happy to be talking to you. I've been checking out some of your. The funny thing is, we have actually spoken before. It was way back, I think, sort of middle of last year. I was going to meet you in Toronto. You were involved in a conference there
Was
with,
it the Crypto Chicks?
yeah.
Yeah, the Crypto Chicks conference. I was there. Did you go to that event?
I was actually at the BSV conference. I flew all the way down to interview Craig Wright, and I
Super
was.
funny. I had tickets to that too, but I just like made the assessment that I didn't know like what to do with that, so I just didn't go. I was like, if I go, I'm gonna have to do something crazy, and I'm just gonna like remove myself from that situation. But I did get tickets.
We finally meet. We finally meet. I'm absolutely fascinated to have a chat with you. Actually, I've been checking out some of your content, and yeah, it's really impressive. Your presentation that you did on media, crypto media, was one of the best I've seen. Actually, it was
Thank
really
you.
good. Yeah. So crypto finally, and tell us a bit about where that moniker comes from.
Well, I mean, it's kind of just like a ham thing. I was just like, finally, it's cute and funny because when I initially came up with that handle, I wasn't aware enough of the space to understand that people were actually going to call me finally. That never crossed my mind. I was just like, it's an internet handle, like I've had a Instagram my entire life and like no one's ever called me by my Instagram handle before. But I guess it's just a different domain when we exist so heavily on the internet.
Yep.
I just thought it was cute and fun. And you know what else? I was looking for a handle that I could get across platforms, and that one was free everywhere. I had like all these other fun, like what I thought were original ideas that everyone had already used. So that's the story behind the name is like not the most exciting one, other than I was finally here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, you're definitely a big media player in this space. Tell us, what attracted you to crypto? How have you ended up here? What was the motivation, and what does it mean to you?
So, prior to crypto, I had worked in production. I also have a teaching background. I was a substitute teacher for a long time. So the jobs that I was doing, I worked for the Blue Man Group for a very long time doing production with them. But after that period, I was doing freelance work. So freelance work and substitute teaching is sort of a nomadic lifestyle as is, I'm getting up, going to a different school every day. It's a different administration, different group of people. And then one day I had friends from my production background in Los Angeles fly to New York. And now this was for Consensus 2018. And I met up with them and I went out with them to the Consensus networking parties and just started getting to know people in the cryptocurrency community. I loved it. I could tell right then and there that we were on the ground floor of something. Also keep in mind, this is the first Consensus after the pump. So people are excited. So it like that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, directly thereafter.
This is what, 2017?
No, this was two years ago.
Okay.
So it's 2020 right now.
Yep.
So 2018. So there was like, December 2017, and that would be the first Consensus that occurred after. So people were excited, and people had just made a lot of money. And I was looking around the room, and I'm honestly just seeing this community and listening to what people have to say about blockchain and cryptocurrency. And what I really did pick up on was this is the ground floor of something, and I would be daft to not get myself involved on this level. So what I did was I started working with my friends who had flown in for Consensus. They had a different cryptocurrency YouTube channel called Cryptonauts. And so I worked with them on the back end. We had some videos with over 100,000 views. Like that channel was very successful. the face of that channel left us for altcoin buzz, which at the time I thought, and like altcoin buzz is very cool. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I was brand new to the space. I had 400 followers and we were like, oh wow, altcoin buzz wants you, like leave us for sure, and he did. And so then we were left with a channel that didn't have a representative face. And I'm sure, as you know, that the face really matters more than the brand when it comes to these personalities, especially in this space. We were not able to recreate what we had. 3 months later, I was CryptoFinally. So 3 months later, that's where CryptoFinally emerged out of, was sort of the breakdown of that channel and my real strong will to want to stay in the space and continue to have a space here.
Okay. I mean, yeah. What is the space for you? What is crypto for you?
What is crypto for you? I think honestly, it's just being able to control your own funds, being able to say that you want to make investments, not needing $100,000 and a banker, not needing all of these like additional and very difficult things in order to be able to take control of your own finances. That's the initial draw for me. And then the secondary draw, and what I would believe my position in this space would be, is how do we actually get more people like me here? People who might not necessarily be miners or traders or analysts, people who don't have that direct like mathematical correlation to cryptocurrency, but still can benefit from this technology.
Yeah, correct. No, you did right. I mean, it's and sometimes, I had imposter syndrome in the first couple of years that I was here. Now I feel like I've been here for an eternity. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy space. You were just on an MTV show recently, is that right?
On Wednesday night, yes. So
tell us a bit about that.
MTV. Okay, so basically this occurred, it was maybe 10 months ago. MTV reached out to me on Twitter and they were looking for somebody who could talk about cryptocurrency. I went out there and I shot this episode, which is an investigative docu-series called True Life Crime. It's a remake of the old True Life on MTV, but with a crime twist, I guess. And this one episode specifically was about SIM swap hacking. Okay. And so the episode covers SIM swap hacking in traditional social media and text message 2FA senses. But the main purpose of the episode was talking about this $5 million in cryptocurrency that was stolen. So they were talking about cryptocurrency a lot. They were talking about how many people have invested in Bitcoin. And it was a very crypto-centric episode. So my takeaway from it is I think it's super cool that people who watch MTV now had this access to our world, in a way that they might not have ever had. Because the fact of the matter is the MTV demographic is so different. And that's what a lot of what I'm hearing on crypto Twitter, is people being like, well, you didn't talk about paper wallets or cold storage or blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's like, well, this wasn't made for you, and people saying MTV, I don't even watch MTV. Of course you don't. That's why this is so cool, because you don't watch it. And that's what makes this interesting.
You can't keep crypto Twitter happy, Rachel. You know that.
No, it's literally like, so they used to be upset that I didn't quote unquote do anything, and now I quote unquote do everything, and everyone's still mad. But
look, I mean, let's maybe stay on that topic for a minute. So I'm a middle-aged guy. I don't know if I can call myself middle-aged anymore. I'm sort of pushing 50. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
27. 27. I'm 27. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a bit about, your demographic, people your age, what I don't have a particularly great take on, the perception of what is happening. I've, my media brand has been very much about Bitcoin. I was somewhat of a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm now sort of transitioning into trying to play the journalism game. But if you could maybe talk to me a bit about, your audience and your understanding of what your age group, your demographic is perceiving what's going on.
When I talk about demographics specifically getting involved in cryptocurrency space, it's not solely related to the age group, because we can say that there are a lot of people between the ages of 18 and 34 who are invested in cryptocurrency. A high majority of crypto users are in that age group. It more so has to do with diversification of thought, you know? So where do these people come from? What is their background? What have they been exposed to? And how is it that they got into cryptocurrency in the first place? So when it comes to looking at that from a perception of mainstream media and the portrayals that they put out there, we can really see that we have gone from targeting, you know, men who are tech heavy and math heavy. So like examples like Bill Gates, or the Richard Branson, the Winklevoss twins, Silicon Valley, like all of these very one profile. And I talk about this in my talk, and I do it better when there's a screen behind me, because when I say the names, you can't really envision what I'm talking about. But all of these people seem to fit the same profile, and that happens to be the profile of people who got involved. And these are men who are tech heavy and who are math heavy. The majority of my audience are these tech heavy, math heavy men. And so what I'm trying to do, as well as get more people involved, and these are just people who might not have a mathematical mind but can benefit from owning cryptocurrency, or, you know, utilizing applications on the blockchain, stuff like that. I'm also saying to the tech heavy men that they need to think about these things. It's not just me waving in the people from the outside and saying, this is what I'm doing for you. It's also me talking to the community that exists and saying, hey, if you walk into a room and you only see yourself there, that is not going to be global adoption. So what can we do as a community together to be able to get more people involved and enter the space in the first place?
Where do you see adoption happening? I mean, you know, amongst, you know, people of your age, what do you see people using crypto for? Do you see anything, or is it, you know, what are you seeing? I can talk a bit about what I see, but I'm fascinated to hear, you know, your age group, you know, where is the interest? Are they, do you see a crowd coming in here, or people leaving? What's the case for you?
I would say that the interest would be, again, what I was talking about before, the same thing that draws me into it. You're able to be your own banker, make your own investments, control your own finances. It's super easy to send. You don't need to pay additional fees.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, you just need to take a use case like Venmo. Look at something like Venmo. Venmo hasn't existed for very long, but all of the young people are using it now. Kids don't really use credit cards that much. They don't give each other cash when they pay for snacks. They Venmo each other. They Cash App, they PayPal. And these are all new technologies that were sort of like the beta version of cryptocurrency, if you want to put it that way. And so we've actually taken it out of those hands and simplified it even more. So the question becomes, why hasn't this adopted bigger, and what does this have to do with the UI, the UX, and people's ability to actually use these technologies? I don't think that it needs to be all tech heavy and you know, this is sort of a reaction to what I hear on the internet and crypto Twitter. Everyone's so certain that it needs to be so tech heavy. Everyone's so certain that this is like, we need to know this technology. You need to know how the blockchain works. You need to read the white papers, all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, these people are not going to do those things. They are not going to do those things. They are likely never going to do those things. So how do we make this something that they can use without needing to feel like there's an imposter syndrome on them? You know, and there's a reason that you felt that way. There's a reason that I felt that way. And it's because of the sentiment in this community, which is, in my opinion, completely unfair to outside thought processes, to outside people who come from different backgrounds.
Okay. So, I mean, maybe where I'm going with this is, you know, this evening I was at a dinner and some drinks, and I guess it was maybe a crowd of about 15 of us. Half of that crowd were people that, you know, they've had significant positions in crypto, primarily Bitcoin. With, you know, half of them paper Bitcoin through, you know, futures positions, etc. You know, significant positions, and you know, these are, you know, a couple of hedge fund managers. You know, that's kind of the crowd that I'm sort of rolling around with, you know, here in Asia. What are you seeing from that? You know, that's you know, your crowd, people in their 20s. Are they? How do they perceive crypto? And for me, you know, it very much is a Bitcoin crowd. They haven't really ventured into, you know, the multitude. I think we have 10,000 different cryptos out there at the moment. They've, you know, maybe some of them have positions in Ethereum, but you know, they're, you know, for them it's a financial investment. It's a number go up scenario. They're not really using anything, you know, in the space, and I don't think they have any intention of doing that, at least in the short term. What do you see? I mean, are you seeing people your age sort of looking at what we've got going on here and going, okay, I can have something on my phone and actually use this, I can buy something with it? Or is it a financial investment, or is it a use case? Can you maybe tell me a bit more about that?
I think that I could classify it into three kinds of people, right? There's the first kind of person who knows what crypto is, thinks it's super cool, and they use it, right?
Okay.
There's the second kind of person who has heard about cryptocurrency, but assumes that it is just far too difficult for them to get involved, and they don't know how. They think it's way above them just for the way that it's been portrayed. And then there's a third person who has never heard the word cryptocurrency in their life. And so really, I think it's about attacking those second two people, and finding a way to make it accessible and easy for the people who think it's too hard. That's who I was. I was the person who knew about Bitcoin. I knew about cryptocurrency, but everything that I heard about it seemed so difficult and over my head. I was like, this is for really, really, really smart people who know math, who know all this stuff, and I'm never in my life going to be able to figure out how to do this. And that is how I felt, and that is what prevented me from getting into the space for a very long time, until my real life friends were able to help me on board. So for me, I think that really a lot of people, even if it is people who are trying to just make investments, and that's totally fair, being able to invest for the first time in something like this, it's amazing and it's a good opportunity. Even if that's all you want it for, there are a lot of people who don't understand how simple making that investment is. People think it's incredibly difficult, and that has a lot to do with the language that we use. You know, with the heavy amount of analysis and charting that goes on, you know, that your friends who just want to use it to like have the money go up so that they can make some extra cash, like
none of them use it. None of them use it. They've bought it. They have very heavy positions. They're, you know, for them, they're pretty astute investors, these guys. And you know, I was quite shocked to actually learn you know, the level that they're actually invested in this space. You know, I took you know, for me, that was nice to hear that you know, they've taken major positions, but at the same time, they're not actually using it. You know, it's not for them. It's not a currency, and outside of Bitcoin, I don't think they really know about anything else that's going on. I was trying to educate them on the fact that you know, there are some projects at the moment that they need to take a close look at, and I don't really want to sort of drop too many names here on the ones that I like, but you know, for me, it's a fascinating space right now. I think potentially, you know, the distributed ledger tech will impact upon a lot of, you know, there were a couple of guys there that are, you know, they run compliance at global banks, so they're very aware of blockchain, of distributed ledger technology. They're having a flutter on a personal level. I don't see, you know, massive institutional investment. I think that will come when we go from being 0.01 of the global economy up to at least 0.1. But what worries me is that we seem to have gone from quite a sort of revolutionary mindset about, okay, we don't need to, you know, the current financial system is questionable. You know, is crypto offering us something new? To what I saw tonight, where people they're really happy. You know, they've made 10x on their investments in the last couple of years, but they're not using it. Are you seeing anything different? Are you seeing people using anything in this space?
Have I seen people use what? I don't really understand that question.
do you see people buying something with these cryptos? Do you see
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
use cases? What you know,
Well, of
what are
course.
you seeing?
Of course. I mean, if you're talking about within the space, that's happening all the time. There are tons of new Bitcoin merchants. There are lots of people who are selling things with cryptocurrency. Coinbase Commerce makes it super simple to set up cryptocurrency payments on your individual websites if you sell things online. A lot of my friends do OTC. Really simply just like buying Bitcoin off each other so that they can get food when we're out, stuff like that. So when you're looking at the crypto community, yeah, I do see a lot of people actually using Bitcoin for things. My friends who I play virtual reality with will buy their games with Litecoin, you know, things like that. It very, very much so I'm seeing heavy use within the community. But it's the people who are on sort of the outside edge, and that's really who I'm trying to access. More people like your friends who just have a use case for Bitcoin itself. They just want to be invested in it. It's not always going to be so tech heavy, but there are use cases. There are tons of merchants and lots of places that you can use to spend Bitcoin now.
Perfect. I mean, so I mean that's maybe where you can sort of educate me a wee bit. I mean, I've been a very much just a Bitcoin guy for, you know, my time in the space, and I have a hell of a lot of friends telling me about these, you know, these wonderful projects, and I'm going off on this journey now with this series that I'm making called The Real Cryptos. And you know, I'd love to see if I can get you involved in that and some of the other key people in the space that are creating content here. There's only really a small group of us, I think, that are really sort of fully committed to doing this. But you know, for me, it's almost sort of back to square one because I've just been a Bitcoin guy. So trying to understand, you know, some of these other projects and what's happening outside of the, you know, the Bitcoin space as far as a use case goes. I mean, could you maybe talk me through what some of the better projects that you're seeing and what you think they're going to bring to the bigger picture here as far as, you know, a use case goes?
You're just talking about like altcoins?
Yeah.
I mean, I really honestly, like, just to be completely frank, I never really talk about altcoins. They do different things. They have different transaction speeds. Some things work faster. Some things can be confirmed faster, you know, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I mean, I'm a part of the community in cryptocurrency as a whole, but I'm not like out there loud and proud screaming about how I'm some altcoin army, you know, so.
Also, what, you're very much just Bitcoin, or?
I have, for the most part, yeah. You know, again, this is coming from a different sort of perspective. You know, even what you're thinking now, even your assumption that I'm heavily invested in altcoins and like I have something to say about the projects and the use cases is what I'm talking about when it comes to perception and portrayal of the space. You know, we're allowed to be the same person. You know, you're heavy in Bitcoin. You're not really into these altcoins. Just because I'm out there talking about different things doesn't necessarily mean that I need to be that tech heavy as well. So again, it's just about sort of changing the way we look at this, you know, like we are just people who can be invested in Bitcoin, who can be sort of utilizing the space as we are without necessarily needing to be so heavy in these individual technologies, which is just not the place that I'm coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, I was very much a Bitcoin maximalist, and I've sort of spread my wings a wee bit into, you know, to the other two incarnations of Bitcoin, which effectively is a rather horrible place to be. And I'm sure you know all about this, Rachel, where, you know, if you're talking about a particular project, you've got plenty of fans, but the second you talk about a different community, you've got a million enemies. So, you know, I'm trying to go down the journalism route now. I did an interview with Roger Ver earlier today, and it amazed me that he turned around and said, well, you know, if he wasn't involved in Bitcoin Cash, he'd probably be involved in Ethereum. You know, he spoke on a number of topics, but it really fascinated me to learn that, you know, the guy, I think most people associate him with Bitcoin Cash, but, you know, he's a real proponent of a hell of a lot of other projects that are happening in the space, and I'm sort of trying to broaden my understanding of what is happening. Yeah.
I think as far as like the other communities, that's really where I do lie. So like on social spaces, there are some very strong altcoin communities.
Yeah.
And I've found like the Digibyte community to be amazing. And the Steam community to be amazing. And these are two really good examples of just people being inclusive, and that being a reason for actually using the tokens, for utilizing their platforms. I've been heavier giving away Digibyte and posting on Steam because of how welcoming the community has been. And it really does all break down to the way we represent ourselves. If you're part of one of these communities that's being nasty on the internet to people, or if you're an influencer who has something mean to say, it doesn't make us want to get involved in what you're doing. So really shout out.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it is tough for us making content here. I think a lot of people assume we're getting $1 million paychecks from some of these spaces.
Outrageous.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is. Look, I mean, we're very early days here, and look, it is about different communities creating some impetus. I think the science experiment is kind of over on a number of fronts, and it does now come down to a marketing exercise. So. People that are, putting yourselves out there like yourself to promote these different projects. That's huge. So on that note, I mean, where do you want to put your energy and time, and into which projects? What do you like?
For me, I mean, I'm not exactly sure. Sorry, I got a weird message. I'm not entirely sure what you mean exactly by that. When you say projects, are you talking about products or use cases? So like I've been really heavily getting myself involved in social media dApps. So decentralized and blockchain based social media.
Yeah.
That's something
which ones do you like?
Right now, okay, I'm a little confused because I was really, really, really loving Steemit, and I don't know what's about to happen to it with that move to the Tron blockchain. I was just getting involved in the Steemit community, and I know that a lot of people say, Steemit's hard to break into, it's hard to find the community there, and there's a lot of like sort of nonsense post stuff that goes on, but I was actually able to access that community on Twitter. And now I have a lot of friends that are over on Steemit, and I was really enjoying their blogging platform, as well as their extended apps that have been built on the blockchain, such as 3Speak and DTube. So like video platforms that post through to Steemit. I've been really enjoying using all of those Steamed apps quite a bit. I'm excited to see what happens with the new updates now that it's moving over to Tron, or has been acquired, or whatever exactly is going on that I think everyone's a little confused about.
I can tell you this: I was using that back in 2017, and it confused the fuck out of me. It was literally like some twisted mind fuck of how the hell you even log into the damn thing. It was way too much.
So a lot of things have been built on top of that, like Steam Connect. Steam Connect is now an internal, it's an application that you can have an extension for, and it will log you into any of your accounts that are built on the Steam blockchain, all with one click. So that actually does make that easier.
Rachel, let's stay on this topic. What do you think of Tron? What do you think of Justin Sun? Obviously they bought. What have they bought? They bought Steemit. They bought Poloniex. I mean, that guy's making major moves. He's hanging out with Warren Buffett. I don't know the guy. I mean, have you spoken to him? If you know a bit about that project? I know nothing. Could you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I genuinely think Justin's a good guy. I think that I know him personally. I've never met him in the real world, but I have conversated with him in the past. I think that he's a really, really good guy. I think that he's really trying to expand right now. And I think that people just sort of need to keep in mind that whoever you are, when you are in a public spotlight and you have that many followers and that many people keeping tabs on you, it's easy to make what some people might perceive to be as a mistake. you know? And I feel like he's fallen into that sort of public backlash quite a bit. But overall, I believe that he's attempting to make good moves for the blockchain space. He is really growing an empire right now with these acquisitions. You know, now he got DLive as well. So we got DLive and Steemit, Poloniex. They have so many dApps that have been built on Tron at this point right now. You know, they've already dominated casino gaming. In my opinion, I think that Tron dominates the casino gaming space in cryptocurrency. And they're really just starting to.
Kelvin Air might have something to say about that to you.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, like, as far, if I can judge by the way the community interacts on the social spaces on the internet, the mass majority of casino gaming I've seen has been built on Tron dApps. And, or like that people refer them to me, that kind of thing all the time.
But, hey, listen, you know, this is all bullshit aside. I know really very little about Tron. What is Tron?
I mean, I haven't like done too much investigatory. Again, like I'm not here like really looking into the cryptos. I'm more looking at those use cases. So in the specific example of Justin and Tron, I'm more looking at what they're doing with the Tron blockchain, growing their outside platform. So like what I just said, the casino gaming, the social media, I'm more on that end of what they're doing as opposed to like what the currency itself is going to be doing. I mean, I know they did like BTT as well, and a few other offshoots like that. But I'm not in, and I know that the BitTorrent, I think, was intended for gaming and social platforms. So maybe we're going to see some sort of integration of that now into DLive and Steemit. But for the most part, I'm not so much tracking, you know, exactly what the purpose of that currency is. I'm more looking at them from a wider lens.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, what's exciting you about the overall space at the moment?
Really just like the exposure we're starting to get. So that means a lot.
Well, you're on MTV, so yeah, that's a biggie.
It's true. But, you know, in the last year alone, like we've seen so many examples of this come out, you know, there's been so much more talk of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in mainstream, so many more normal, like everyday people asking questions about Bitcoin. And I just think that we're starting to hit this new wave where there was a lot of technical development. There were a lot of devs, really nerdy people who were getting involved in the beginning of times. And we're starting to have that overlap now where everyday people are learning about cryptocurrency. And that has to do with big media. That has to do with the way that we're being portrayed overall. But that's what I'm most excited about, is to continue to watch that surface.
Okay. So you've been in the space for how many years now?
About 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you think it's going to be over the next, you know, for you? Do you think, you know, do you see a global currency here? What, I mean, how do you describe it to your friends, to new people coming in? What, you know,
well, basically that it's a good investment overall. As far as like a logarithmic chart does, Bitcoin kills it. Absolutely. Yep. Even with these big volatile spikes. But more so just like,
so I mean, that's a good point. I mean, are you saying to them, look, take a position in these emerging technologies? They will do this in the future. You know, the price of these things are likely to go through the. I mean, you know, how are you describing it to people? Because the use cases aren't really there, are they, right now? But
when people are first learning about it, what I tell them is that, you know, if you're going to make an investment, this is a fine place to put your investment. I show them what a logarithmic chart means. So TA can be scary, and it can also be dangerous for newcomers. In my opinion, technical analysis can be incredibly dangerous for newcomers. So can price predictions. Do not tell someone who knows nothing about Bitcoin that it's going to hit 20K in the next 2 months, because you don't know them, their life, their background, or if they're just going to throw all their money into it and feel like you screwed them. It's just not safe, and it's kind of not right. So in my opinion, what I do is I show them a logarithmic chart as opposed to a linear chart where we're watching these big spikes up and down, and explain that on a grand scale, we are incredibly up from where we used to be. And I tell them, do not watch it on a day-to-day basis. do not do that. And maybe don't even put all your money in at one time. I explain dollar cost averaging. I say things like set a $20 every month, put in $20 into Bitcoin. Like just don't order Uber Eats one night. And so stuff like that. And then that way their money's safer as well. I feel more confident. I'm not telling you put 20K in right now, like God knows what'll happen in a week. So I think it's just, the way that I explain it is a really safe sort of investment angle, which would be, hey, this is going to be good for you. But on the short term, like we really don't know what's going to happen. And I think that that's the right thing to do when you're talking to a newcomer, is to explain that nobody actually knows what's going to happen. All we can see is the way the charts have moved over time. And on a logarithmic scale, we've gone straight up. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't go back down, but we'll probably still be quite a bit up.
All right, Rachel, let's not beat around the bush here. And to our audience, we're not giving financial advice at all. This is two people having a chat. How do you invest in this space, and what do you like? What are you doing from a personal point of view?
I'm fairly low risk. I dollar cost average in. Same thing. I'm not putting all my money into altcoins.
Can you tell me which ones?
Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum are my main three. Just for me, they sit pretty stabilized and they have certain use cases. They're well known, good household names. That really does matter here too. I know that there could be a big opportunity to get in on a low market cap coin and make a ton of money, but you know, you also—
That's what people want to hear about, isn't it?
That's what they want to hear. But it's not great investment advice. It's like, yes, it is out there.
But we're not giving investment advice. Have you got anything you've got your eye on?
That's like me sitting at the poker table and trying to tell you which cards to play. Like, you know, the low market cap coins really do fall into that domain right now as far as viewing them as investments.
See, you know what, the way I view this, and I've had some interesting chats on this recently, but you know, for me, this market excites me now because, you know, I'm a bit older than you. I've been through the .com boom and bust. You know, I was fairly heavily involved in that space from the rollout of the infrastructure. So, you know, I saw the companies building on a protocol effectively, which is exactly what we've got here with blockchain. You know, I saw the great ideas that were pie in the sky, and, you know, ultimately the better ideas ended up happening. You know, they're the Amazons, they're the Googles. We got them. I see the same thing here. I think, you know, once again, we're not giving financial advice, but I certainly see a scenario now that after this ICO boom, people who, you know, you were talking about technical analysis before, that's a tough game. You know, that's some sleepless nights. That's some hard going, and a dangerous game to play unless you know what you're doing. But I think really having a look at the fundamentals of some of these companies that are here now, and the clutter is definitely not there like it has been over the last few years. There's a really wonderful opportunity if you're playing purely the investment game here to have the opportunity to pick some winners. So, you know, for you, are you looking at the space in that respect, or, you know, what is your role in crypto content creation? Are you a journalist, or are you, how do you see your sort of brand evolving over the next couple of years?
I just talk about Bitcoin and ways to make it accessible for the most part. I don't really do news. You know, I'm not specifically like going around doing interviews and stuff like that. It's more of just having an accessible space within the space, you know, a comfortable, safe space for people who are overwhelmed by technical analysis. And that's more or less what I think that I'm providing at this point in time, is a safe space for people who want to get involved, but can't necessarily understand what's going on and don't want to be made to feel stupid just because they can't trade, because they don't mine, because they don't do these very basic things that we've associated to be what it means to be in cryptocurrency.
So, I mean, what, you're looking to build a media brand? I mean, I know there's for me, there's been a real frustration because if you're talking about price, it's quite easy to monetize content in this space with, you know, the affiliate links from Bybit and so forth. But educating people, I've done that for a number of years. It's called the tragedy of the commons, especially in Bitcoin. You know, there's no marketing department to actually finance that. I mean, what you know, what are you looking to do? What is your, how are you going to sort of finance what you're doing in this space?
I mean, I that's like a weird question. You know, there's a lot.
No, it's one content creator to another, just having a
no, I mean, sponsorships, absolutely. Sponsorships from reputable companies that I trust and actually believe in. So I've never taken a sponsorship from a token or an ICO. You've never seen me make a video where I tell you that some price is going to go to the moon, primarily because that is a crime. And a lot of people in the space who are doing
Very
that
good point.
It's a crime. It's a literal friggin' you will go to jail or you will pay fines out the ass by the time the SEC smacks down and realizes what's going on here. So there's a certain amount of money that you can make under the radar, but guys, like, you really need to be careful because that's not cool. And I mean, and it's, I feel like can get into that for a really long time, but majoritatively,
I would kind of like you to. I've been terrified of actually saying that, but you're 100% correct.
It's true. And the SEC, like, you are not allowed to promote securities, and you are especially not allowed to promote securities without disclosing that the security is paying you. Like, you're invested in it. You're a bag holder. Guys, it's just a crime. If this was traditional finance, like that would be a no-go, easy, insider trading. And you can see with what happened to like Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled, you know, they had those Centra cards. They were promoting some cryptos, Paris Hilton, these big names who are actually in the limelight celebrities did get slammed by the SEC. They paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines so they didn't have to go to jail for doing what these itty bitty little crypto influencers are doing right now. They just don't have enough media attention to be in trouble yet. So guys, look out, because once we get the attention, it will be on you. So that would be my say. I do not take sponsorship funds from ICOs or tokens for that reason. You know, it just is dangerous. It's a dangerous game. I'm not going to jail. I don't have Mayweather money. I can't pay that fine. But more so like related to your question about avoiding talking about topics like that, but still growing an audience. It's just
Rachel, true. You're 100% correct. I mean, look, I've had this chat on Twitter with a few people where, you know, it wasn't so much about, look, you're breaking the rules. It was more about, you've been doing this for 4 years and your predictions have been fucking wrong.
Every single time.
And if you had a boss, you would have been fired so many goddamn times when you shut up shop and just leave.
It's so true.
Yeah.
You
they're
know,
still here. They're still here, and they're still leading people down. You know, I don't want to piss off all the other content creators here, but kind of pleased you actually said what I've wanted to say for a long time, Rachel. So.
That's why everyone hates me so much. So,
oh really? Oh God.
I mean, I no. I'm just a fun character, and no one's used to fun, I think, to be completely honest. But the second thing I was going to say is, you know, a lot of people, actually, you know what, let me go back real quick on that tangent, because you said that you love to hear that. Yesterday, I was on Mind Your Biz podcast with Seth Estrada, and he posted it recently. But in the podcast, he asks me at the end of it, he goes, now I need you to disclose if anything you just plugged was a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
And nobody has ever asked me that in an interview before. I've done tons of interviews on tons of channels. Nobody has ever asked me the question, did you just plug your sponsor? And I think that it is so important. And I thanked him for asking me that, because the truth of the matter is, when we're watching,
can we just get this out of the way now? You gave me $200 to come on my show tonight. Do I need to say this?
Zero sponsors.
You gave me $200. What are you talking about?
Definitely so. But my point.
Not true, actually. I paid Rachel. That's full
definitely
disclosure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But my point being that if you are watching somebody else's YouTube channel and you think that there's just a friendly conversation going on in which someone starts talking about some crypto that they love so much and how it has big things coming, turns out they're being sponsored by those companies,
Yeah.
then I mean, it's really hard to take that in as regular information, and it's dangerous to do so. So I thank him, Mind Your Biz, for asking me that question. But even more so, what does that mean on the liability of the person whose channel it's on, you know? So say I come on your channel and I start talking all about Tron and how excited I am, and it turns out that Tron's paying me. Are you then liable for shilling that without the disclaimer? And I think that these are sort of the questions that are starting to emerge as we grow and get further into this.
No doubt. No doubt. But the good thing with Tron is Justin Sun is so rich that he has another planet and he can actually just take you on a spaceship and put you there in a 5-star hotel on Tron land. So you're fine.
Tron.
Hey, Justin, on that note, I will sell Tron on my channel. I didn't even know what Tron does. I'd love to talk to him. I mean, look at, you know, the guy's rolling around with Warren Buffett now and buying up everything in this entire space. I need to understand what the hell Tron does. Look, I feel like some sort of dust-covered dude who's just been covering Bitcoin for the last 4 years. I need to get up to speed. But, you know, it's, you know, these are fascinating times. I mean, on that note, let's, you know, I spoke with Roger Ver for a couple of hours today. I'm going to post that video tomorrow. What are your thoughts on the 3 different Bitcoins? How do you explain to people what Bitcoin is? You know, there's 3 of them.
Well,
you know,
there just aren't. There just are not 3 different Bitcoins. Like,
here we go. Come on, Rachel. Let's like, stir it up.
Just because someone took a brand name doesn't make it the same brand, you know?
Is there one Bitcoin for you then? Is that what you're saying?
Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin SV is Bitcoin SV. Like, and then what was the differentiation with the fork? Was it Bitcoin SV and then they turned Bitcoin Cash into Bitcoin ABC or something like that? Like, is that what happened? Bitcoin Cash ABC. Anyway, my point being, those are all their own companies. They're their own things. They've used the word Bitcoin. It doesn't make them Bitcoin. It might make them a similarly structured product with different features, but it doesn't, like, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. There's no like denying that. I can't like make a fake iPhone and then tell you it's actually an iPhone. Like, you know, it's a fake iPhone.
Oh, hang on a minute. So if one of your friends says to you, I want to buy a Bitcoin, and then they call you up and they go, hey, I'm sitting at my computer. There's 3 Bitcoins in the top 5, which there is. Which one should I buy, Rachel?
It's just Bitcoin if they're just trying to buy Bitcoin. I will say that
they're in the top 5. There's 5,000 coins. Actually, there's about 10,000, but
more. There's more.
Yeah. So in the top 5, there's 3 Bitcoins. What are you telling people? This is huge.
That Bitcoin is Bitcoin. I mean, it's just like I think like I'm like kind of laughing at the question because it just feels so cut and dry for me. It doesn't feel like there is a big explanation. Like, Bitcoin is just Bitcoin and the other 2 are
cut and dry.
Like they're just different brands that use the same name. Like,
they are. We understand that. They're you know, they're different projects. They do different things, but you know, we're content creators. How that it's you know, it falls on us to explain this to people. Let's talk about that. This is, you know, for me, this is the you know, the most difficult thing that I bump up against. I'm making episode 2 of my series, The Real Cryptos, at the moment, and I'm you know, I told Roger Ver this. I'm fucking terrified of this. You know, the amount of shit I get from the different communities. You know, they're like, how dare you say that BTC is Bitcoin? You know, BSV is the longest chain, and it's you know, these are passionate people that, you know, obviously you've got the element of people that are just sitting on a stack of coins, and anything that would you know, impact upon the value of those coins, they'll attack you. But even from a, you know, a really sort of highly technical point of view, it's for me, it's quite difficult to really be able to say, okay, I really clearly understand that is the real Bitcoin. There's very valid arguments for all 3 Bitcoins, in my opinion. and I'm trying to, this series. This is definitely the most difficult thing I've ever done, because I'm literally putting myself out there and going, okay, here's me trying to tell the world about what I think Bitcoin is. And partially, it's tough. How do you, I mean, so for you, is it what Bitcoin is just BTC?
But I just don't understand why you're still asking me that. Like, I can't process whatever the thought. Like, I get when people are saying like Bitcoin SV is Bitcoin, but that's just like an emotional response. It has nothing to do with anything,
Right.
Yeah, they like it more. They can like it more. It doesn't make it not Bitcoin SV, whatever that is,
So
and
if somebody called you up and said, I'm about to buy
it's not
$1,000
the
worth
same
of Bitcoin, but this Bitcoin Bitcoin Cash that's cheaper, that's $380. Should I buy that, Rachel? What would you say?
I would say if you want to buy Bitcoin Cash, buy Bitcoin Cash, but it's just not.
But if
It's just
they
like
say, is that Bitcoin?
it's not Bitcoin. No,
Not Bitcoin.
no. It's just such an easy answer for me that I don't have much more for it.
All right.
Specifically, it's like the what I'm saying is like
So Bitcoin Core is Bitcoin for you. The others are
Bitcoin
forks.
is the name of what was created. It is literally just a freaking name. It can be called whatever the fuck you want. Like you can like call it like Mr. Coin, and Mr. Coin 2 still wouldn't be Mr. Coin, It's like the name is proprietary. It has nothing to do with what you're actually functioning with. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin SV came out using the same name. Bitcoin Cash came out using the same name. It doesn't make it Bitcoin. It just makes it really fucking good branding. Like, that's it.
Okay. Not entirely sure I follow.
A company named it that. Someone in a room, in a suit probably, sat around and said, what if we called it Bitcoin Cash? And then hoping that we would be having this conversation today. It's just a different coin.
I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I mean, these are the same people that have, so take, the first fork to Bitcoin Cash. Roger Ver certainly put more money than anybody else in the space into Bitcoin. And when Ethereum came along, there was the feeling was that as far as actually using a cryptocurrency, there was a threat to Bitcoin from Ethereum, and I think that was really where that whole, we need to increase the block size to be competitive, to have retail outlets actually accept this as a form of payment, for commerce to actually happen. So the passion, in that community when that fork happened, that was very much, no, we are the real Bitcoin. So sure, I agree with you that there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of passion here. And
is Ethereum Classic Ethereum?
I have, to be honest with you, this is how much of a Bitcoiner I am. I know really very little about Ethereum. Tone Vays had me convinced that it would be declared a security and be wiped off the face of the earth. So I never really followed that project for the last 4 years. He was wrong. And I'm now about to go through a process of understanding what's all these other projects are about.
The base answer was not yes, Ethereum Classic is Ethereum.
Sorry?
The base answer, though, I asked you, is Ethereum Classic Ethereum? You didn't just say yes.
Oh, I have absolutely no idea what has happened in Ethereum.
So
I could talk in detail about what's happened in Bitcoin, but
yeah,
not on Ethereum.
Well, I mean, I think it's just the same. It's the same thought process. Like, you can fork something, you can create your own company, you can create a new coin or crypto, but at the end of the day, like, they are what they are. And just because you're using the same name or you're a fork off an original project does not make you that actual original project.
Right. Okay. So if somebody's saying, I want to buy Bitcoin, that is BTC.
That's Bitcoin, yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you think that could change in the future?
I think that Bitcoin's always going to be Bitcoin. I think it was the original protocol, and I think that the concept of Bitcoin not just being Bitcoin is kind of silly. It literally just is what it is. Like that, it was Bitcoin. It is Bitcoin. Anything else that was created is a secondary company. You know.
I mean, fast forward 10 years though, if there's a situation where Bitcoin Cash is widely accepted, more the general public knows it, they use it more.
That would be Bitcoin Cash. People might use the word Bitcoin, but it doesn't make it Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin Cash. It might be more widely accepted. BSV might be the one that takes off. Who knows? I don't think it will be, but if it is, that doesn't make it Bitcoin. It just makes it Bitcoin SV that did really well.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, for me, it's a protocol. It's slight variations of a protocol. I'm trying to explain to people, what those differences are. I think they are not huge different use cases, but that there are certainly differences. So whether or not BTC, the people developing on that particular protocol seem to have rocked back into okay, we'll go with a store of value, a digital gold mindset for now, and we'll see what happens with layer 2 solutions. And I think the impetus and the development on the other incarnations are a little bit different. And I think as content creators, I think it's it does definitely fall on, depends where you sit. You've got for example, a guy like Peter McCormick who's very well funded by people within that BTC space. It frustrates me a little bit where he's so vitriolic about BTC being Bitcoin and anything else. You're a fucking retard if you even entertain the thought of mentioning BCH or BSV being Bitcoin. It literally, you're a scammer. You're an idiot. I'm kind of at a point where I have been a Bitcoin. I have 180 articles. I have nearly 70 videos that I've made over the last 4 years, all about Bitcoin. So I feel I'm fairly well qualified to talk on this topic, but I've decided to play more of a journalism thing moving forward here. And my position is to present to the public, here's how we've ended up with these different incarnations of Bitcoin. And I think everybody has the absolute right to be understood for what they're putting forward. It bores me. It bores me and frustrates me to hear people say, this is Bitcoin. No, this is Bitcoin. No, fuck you, this is Bitcoin. Yeah, anyone that's doing that and is so ridiculously vitriolic about it, that doesn't understand that you have to present a wider picture to people to then go through a process to understand what is on offer. Yeah, that's a big fuck you from me. But that's my position. And I guess I can give a big fuck you by presenting all the options. It doesn't win me any friends. It makes it very difficult to get a sponsor. I effectively piss everybody off, but that's the position I'm taking. I don't really see anybody else doing it, but that's kind of what I'm doing with my media.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not like saying anything bad about the other tokens. I just think that there's branding. I just think that's where I'm viewing it from.
Okay. So on that note, what do you think? What would you like other people in my audience to know about your brand? I mean, if they're going to come and follow what you're doing, what's your thing in this space, so to speak?
Just a fun place, inclusionary, getting people involved, and expansion. So I take a look at media, and I take a look at the way that we can get more people involved in the space, and what does that look like as opposed to what we're doing now. So things like I did Bitcoin music videos.
You got some really good ones, by the way.
Thank you.
Awesome, actually.
Thank you. I do live stream chats that are more or less just conversations about the community, you know, for people who are involved in the community. They're not incredibly tech heavy conversations. And I just sort of provide information about the space as far as like, you know, I make it accessible and easy to understand. And that's basically more or less where I come from, just accessibility's angle.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, you know, we need more of that. It's, you know, I started doing this because it was so goddamn confusing, and I don't know that it's actually got any easier for new people coming into the space, huh? So yeah,
Unsure.
my brain still hurts even now after 4 years of making content. I'm like, oh god, I thought I understood that, but maybe not.
Possible.
So when are we going to meet physically over the next few months? What are your moves? You're based out of New York.
Yeah. Will you be out here? Will you be out here for Consensus and Blockchain Week?
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll be out there. I'll be here for that, definitely.
Okay. Cool. All right. We'll save a spot on your sofa for me. Then I'll.
I would have to get off the sofa for that to be possible.
So what are you up to in New York on what is it for you? It's sort of coming up to midday on a Saturday now. What's your typical day? What are you doing?
I have a live stream. I have a live stream that I'm going to do with Tim shortly.
Okay.
Yes, so I will be live on my channel. I do it usually every Friday at 12 p.m. and 5 p.m., but we're doing one today as opposed to yesterday, so it can be a little bit longer and talk more about the MTV stuff.
Cool. So is that video being posted by MTV? Can I?
Yeah. You can go to mtv.com. I'm not sure if you need to have a subscription, a cable subscription or something to watch it there, but there are also reruns on television, so it's out, yeah.
Can you send a link that I can put? I'll put it below this this video.
Yeah, I can, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually used to work with them about 17 years ago. Believe it or not.
They were better then.
Hey, listen, Rachel, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. It's about 1:30 in the AM for me here. I'm tired, so I'm going to go and hit the sack. But look, yeah, an absolute pleasure to finally talk to you.
Absolutely. And I will send you that link. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye now.